It should be connecting. We got some people that interrupted me. Good afternoon. What? How's it going out there? It's hot. 100 degrees still today. So we see Glenn. We see David. Lacey's usually not far behind. Robert. We see Bobby. We see Heritage Paper, which is a very strange name for someone to name their child. We see Dennis. We see Jason. We see Robert. It's the same Robert. Okay, I'm singing lead. Does anybody know what it is, the song? Now my computer wants to restart. Snooze that sucker, man. We just got started. Okay, good evening. And nice little tune while we enter the forum. There you go. Well, I hadn't picked up the guitar yet today. So I started picking it up and messing around with it for a few minutes. So I always try to pick it up for a while. So you think you can tell. Heaven from hell. Blue skies from pain. Checking in from Naples, Florida. Okay, I have to set this down because I can't get close to the mic and I can't see what's going on, but I do got the monitors situated better this week. So the monitor's situated. I got the audio up closer so you can see the mic. So I can lean right in and I can see all the lovely people's comments. So I'm set better. Of course, it's getting later in the year. I don't think last fall, winter, we did a lot of lives like this. So I am going to have to get some lighting because as you can tell, we're at 4 p.m., but it's getting much dimmer in here earlier than normal because the sun goes down earlier. 100 degrees. Hey, Ed. And 100 degrees. It's still warm out, but next week we're supposed to get down into the 90s and then the 80s. And it should be out by the Superstitions down into the high to mid 80s, and then the mornings mid to low 60s. But we do have the Siphon Fire. If anybody knows, 15,000 acres as of probably about 10 minutes ago. 15,000 some odd acres. It's across through Hackberry. They've contained it on the south side of the highway. So, but it's still moving towards Canyon Lake and the Tortilla Flat. It is, I think, currently southwest of Tortilla Flat. It didn't get out to Weaver's Needle, and it kind of seemed to jump up through West Boulder Canyon and out and across. So you can go, there's fire data maps. You can go look at the progress. They have 0% containment. I guess the firefighting crews they were not expecting, and most of those crews are in California currently. So it's just burning. So it was just 114 here. Well, Yeah, but it doesn't get 114 in Anaheim that often. The funny thing with 114 in Anaheim is that's kind of normal here most of June, July, and August. So, yeah, we finally got a little breather, a little break. It's kind of funny because our temperature's going down, so usually you guys are higher. That usually means we'll end up higher because that means the pressure comes in here. So, and it says it feels like 103. But it actually feels very nice out today. So there's not really any cloud cover or anything, which would have made it really, really super. It's a big fire. It's not the biggest, but yeah, it's at 15,000 acres. So can we talk how many versions of the La Sombrero? Well, what do you mean La Sombrero? How many people have come up with their version of what the La Sombrero really means? The La Sombrero mine? Probably 40 or 50. So you have, everybody has their different takes. I mean, someone says a mountain that looks like a sombrero, and I've heard everything from Red Mountain all the way up to New River to all the way out towards Wickenburg. People will call things sombrero. There's more than one El Sombrero. There's more than one Superstition Mountains. Of course, you couldn't see the others from Jacob Waltz's porch, so that kind of explains that. So there you always go there. So yes, it's very nice. It was kind of a pleasant day. So the fire is not a great thing, but it is one of those things. I mean, just think 100, 200 years ago, it just burned anyways. So it will come back. The rains will come, things will come back. It's probably been devastated by fires. It was devastated by 3 super volcanoes going into calderas. So it will heal itself. There's only so much they can do. Hello, first time chatting. First time chatter. I am Marley, by the way. That's probably goes with where it says Tony Marley in the name description there. By the way, from close to Boone, North Carolina. Probably had something to do with Daniel Boone. He stopped by there, killed a bar. So there you go. You joined us. So, La Sombrero, Bobby, is a shadow. According to Bobby, it's now a shadow. See, so I said there's 40 or 50, there's 40 or 51 La Sombreros. Bobby added a new La Sombrero. You think Clay Morse will make it? No, I don't think Clay will make it. Clay's health has not been very well. We're happy that Clay's doing fine at home, but I don't think Clay's going to be taking too many adventures or out and about or anything. The difficulty with that, even if Clay was willing to come out, it'd be rough for him to come out that night. I would call him and say, hey, would you like us to arrange someone to bring you out? It's the 20th anniversary and stuff. But just the difficulty of him to come out and sit in the amphitheater and everything, I think it'd be more trouble than it's worth. Clay deserves deserves to rest and take it easy right now. So, not going to bother Clay. Just kind of let him be. If he does make an arrangement, that's great, and we'll do everything we can to accommodate him, which we've done in the past with him and Tom Van, who's gotten up there in years and stuff. We always try to, but it's difficult for those guys, They got health problems, there's joint issues and stuff. We were at the awards ceremony for the Victory Club. This is probably 5 or 6 years ago. And I was sitting there, and Clay had parked down at the bottom of Goldfield in the lower parking lot. And he was looking, he wanted to go down by his car, and the person that stood up to help him walk down the hill to his car was Tom Collenborn, which was very sweet. But when someone said something, I said, "Where's Tom?" And they said, "Oh, Tom went to walk Clay down to his car." I was like, did nobody think that was just a bad idea all the way around the two of them, making the two of them could tumble? Oh, man. So went out to make sure they were okay, and I don't know if someone went down to help Tom back, but the last time we picked up Clay for any event, we had to lift him up and pick him up and put him in the truck and help him out. And I think he had a great time, but it's so exhausting for him, and you're worried how much you're exhausting him for that. So I think if he's in a good place right now, let him be in a good place. I just don't want anything to happen to him. So, he's at a point in his life where he can be so frail and so forth. So I would never say absolutely 100% not, but I'd say about 99.9% not at this point. He deserves to rest. And so I really don't want someone having to load him up that late. I know he'd enjoy it. He can't camp with us. The last times he was with us, he camped. And that's what he likes to do, and I don't think he's probably in a position where he can camp with us. How about the La Sombrero in the book by Robert Blair, Origins? Robert Blair, is that the one where it's the New River one? Black Canyon City? Is it Blair? I get Blair. I think Blair's the one about the whole New River thing, right? And all that stuff. Robert Blair had his own unique take on things. I got several copies of his book. But, I've been up through, and I've been through all the stuff in his books because it's not that far up the road from me. So I went through all that and been in the Valencia and those mines. So we were going to do a video. Maybe this year we'll do it. We were going to do a video on some of those alternative Lost Dutchman things and take people through some of those spots. One of the worries is usually there's people actively have the claims, and while we film and stuff, and we're not doing anything, we just want to kind of do the history part. We don't want to bring people into those places for the wrong reasons or cause more problems for someone. We did do, when Sunsets is released, the interview that we filmed with Thomas Glover were actually filmed by the Valencia. We were up at the Valencia that day. We spent the day at the Valencia and did all that stuff. And then we filmed him in between. Any word of anyone buying or wanting to buy the Wasp man? It was sold. So the Wasp was sold. It has a new owner. I know the new owner. I know how much they paid for it and all that. We actually filmed a walkthrough video of the Wasp, a very detailed, really good Wasp video. And then we had another one. We're going to probably do a third and kind of put those together, kind of some of the stuff on it. What a lot of people don't realize, there's no tunnels or anything left. It's just it's an open pit now. And the hanging wall there is very unstable on the Goldfield side, which would be the northwest side. I have ore samples and stuff from there. But, we went out there and did a lot of the history of the Wasp. But we did the history, and then we did a walkthrough of the system and its design and how it was built and everything by Clay, which is pretty ingenious. So that was very detailed. We walked through, and that will come out. But someone did buy it. It was purchased. Man, that's been over a year or so ago. Someone picked it up. So it did not come cheap. But it is there for the time being, and there is a caretaker on the property watching things. So don't go or mess around there. But the Wasp. But we wanted to do a series on some of those. The Bulldog obviously is covered up, and there's nothing you can do. We did the one film of the Bulldog still. But we wanted to do something similar with the Mammoth and the Black Queen. So people can see these different mines. Sometimes they get referenced. Black Queen doesn't get as referenced as much as the Mammoth, the Wasp, and then the Bulldog. But we wanted to kind of do those so people get a kind of a look at them and see them. And then there was some discussion. I don't know if we could ever get down to do it and where things would be at. But I've always wanted to kind of do a better, more 4K setup for the Silver King. But I don't know if that'll happen either, because it still has to be drained for that in order for that to happen. So, and that's not, from what I know from the last month, that still hasn't happened yet. What are your feelings on subscription and view buying? What do you mean by that? Explain. What are your feelings on subscription and view buying? Oh, you mean like people who buy subscribers and view? Yeah, you're picking up. I'm the wrong person to ask about that, because I absolutely think it gives people a false sense of success. It's just costing you money to not really make it anywhere. We were grown organically. We've never put a single dime into this. We've never paid for anything on this. And don't go to those, because if you buy subs and stuff, if they catch you, you lose your channel. That's why, if you notice, everyone that has a channel that does that has mirror channels where you can find the videos with far less views where they're saving them somewhere else and stuff, because they can kick you out of your views. I think it's a dumb idea. I know the world is always about business and money talks, but there's a lot of channels that do that, and I feel very proud that everything we accomplish and everything this channel's done, over 2 million views and going on to 3 million, is very real. There's nothing fake or phony about it. It just is there's all those people that sign up for this channel are people that sign up. If you want to know the big difference, and this is where you can get screwed on this, a lot of people, everybody gets away with it. Here's where they don't. YouTube categorizes and analyzes everything in view time. So when you're doing those the subscribers, well, that always is a point. They have 1 million subscribers, but 12 views. But when they do the view by views, it's only watching them for like a minute, 2 minutes, a minute and a half. Okay, it's just watching it very, very short. When you look at the rankings, our channel's much higher than a lot of people's channels. And someone once asked me, how are you doing that? I got more views and I did all this and I did and I paid for this, and you still, you're ranked higher. And it's because they go by, everything's based on view time. So if I put out a 40-minute video and you guys are watching them 30, 35 minutes, that's what's helped me. It's not a bunch of minute views. I think I explained that with the lizard people video, which has, I don't know, it's probably at about 140,000 views. But it's ranked lower than 4 or 5 other videos by us because they're much longer, and they're ranked by view time no matter what. So the longer you're engaged, the more commercial time, the more those things, that's how the algorithm reads it. So that's how that works. So if you're not getting the people to watch your video straight through, or they're not watching the whole thing, then you're just trying to play TikTok. And I mean, let's face it, and I know some people won't understand the names, but the Paul brothers, if they were really making the money in YouTube, why would one be wrestling and one be boxing? Why would they have a podcast? Why would they do all this other stuff? It's because it's a great way to get your name out there and pretend to be somewhere. It can get you attention. It can draw in people. Most of the people from television that contact me haven't know anything. They're surprised about our YouTube. They don't watch the YouTube. They're not looking for people through YouTube. They will find some people through social media, but most of the time they find a contact and then they ask names and they go around and they find stuff. I just did an interview for someone today. I don't know if it's a magazine or newspaper interview, and I did about a 45-minute interview. And it was a really good interview, but the whole point being is, don't ask me when they come out, because I don't ever know. I once in a while catch them, because it'll come up like in Google with my name, because I have to Google myself once in a while to find out what I'm doing. But, most of the time they find me through other things, the Dawns of Arizona, the Historical Society. I get a lot of people, like, they go through and then somebody tells them to talk to Bob Shoes. Shoes tells them talk to Wayne. They go down, they OK Corral, they bug Ron or Jesse, and Jesse or Ron will tell them bug Wayne. And I'm more than happy to talk to the people and all. And we kind of do that because I always try to tell people, it used to be Tom, but Tom wanted left alone. Clay doesn't need to be bothered anymore. But I always tried to send them to the people I thought spoke most eloquently and best and factually about the Lost Dutchman mine. So, and the interview today was very interesting because they were telling me they went to the White Mountain Apache Reservation and asked them some questions about the superstitions and things. And I said, oh, what were your questions? And I said, did they laugh at you? And they said, yeah. How did you know that? And I said, because, yeah, those are like the mythology, the urban mythology of the superstitions. Does it help you if we leave comments on? The comments help. What it does is it keeps life. So it's not just the comments, but that's why I always like the comments, and then if there's a way I can answer it, I do answer them. And one of the reasons I do that is it also will kind of buffer up the thing. So if you're using AI and that kind of stuff to do stuff, it generally recognizes it, and you don't really get away with anything. I don't, and the whole purpose is, I don't know. There's several people. I'm not going to name drop in a lot of videos, and there's people that are very popular things. Hey, Attaway Girl joined us, running behind. There should be a penalty for that when you join really late. But I don't know. I don't like it because I think it sends the wrong message to people trying to say, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It can't be that hard. When we started ours, I just did some videos. We had no idea what to do. I just filmed a few things with my phone, and then I just posted them up. I just put them on the YouTube channel I had. Then we renamed it, and we kind of started to kind of see what kind of direction. So it was kind of purely just based off of curiosity, same as the lives. Sitting in a school parking lot and just said, what's this live thing? I wonder what people do. I've seen people do it, but do people really get on there and do this? And so it's kind of a lot of it in social media. It's all dependent. You have to entertain. You have to have a product. Remember, there's always those choke points, and you have to have a distribution, which YouTube's great for distribution of what you want to put out there. You have to have a product. You have to have an idea, find some way to entertain and so forth, and have a package of something. And then you have to basically, what was it, finance. You have to find the finance. Well, the one thing I liked about YouTube was I didn't have to put money into it. The money we make off the commercials, I'll eat fee. Free tacos for everybody. You'll see there, everybody eats your imaginary free tacos. I'm here getting dinner ready. Well, that's nice. Throw that out there while the rest of us sit here and starve, and we have to eat our imaginary air tacos. All is well, everybody's good. The loss of Dutchman can't be forgotten. So when it comes to a lot of this stuff, it is like the good and the bad, because you got so many people do so many channels, and then they spread, and then it depends how people pick up. I know there's a lot of people I've known that completely decided to disconnect from life. They decided to go on the road, and they're going to live off this streaming stuff and Patreon and all this other crap, and then within the year they're back living in a house, and then they're kind of, and before they get to the end, they're kind of faking it finally because it's just not going well. And made it always love the show, thank you. But and like with this, we try to do the special episodes occasionally and throw something else extra out there. We do the lives, and then we do Chasing Legends on Mondays. And then what we try to additionally do is we try to pull every year and a half, we pull 12 episodes of the Legends stuff together, which is completely separate. So I try to make it kind of so there's a little something for everybody. So some people might like the episode stuff, weekly thing, to watch that for a while. Some people might like the live. Some people might just like the Chasing Legends stuff and enjoy that. And we have a pretty solid group. Now, you can get 1,000, 1,500 views each week, and you're probably getting 2,000-3,000 people watching you, because it doesn't always click or count the views authentically. YouTube will take a lot of stuff off. I watched it one day just to watch what was happening, and I watched a lot of stuff disappear, and I was like, how's that possible? Because we're not doing anything. But there was times, once you get over 500 or 600 views, it tries to pick things out. So if a lot of people from a similar server or certain, it will start thinking, oh, so you always lose. So you can't live by the view. Live by, and when you have a YouTube channel, you can see by the algorithm your rankings, and you can watch your view time. And view time is important. If you want to know how popular or how you're getting across to people, watch your view time. If you have a good view time, then you're doing something right. People are starting to enjoy it. And if people enjoy something, they'll continue to watch it. Heard they opened the road at Tortilla Flat. Do you need high clearance vehicle to drive it? No, it's a highway. It's a paved highway. So you can drive all the way to the overlook. So Tortilla Flats, and then it's paved road all the way, and then it goes to dirt road, and then there's dirt road for about a mile or so till the overlook. And then they're working on Fish Creek Hill. Far as a lot of that, the last thing I heard yesterday was they had everything closed and it evacuated Tortilla Flat and evacuated Canyon Lake because of the siphon fire. So it's at 15,000 acres. We talked about that a little bit earlier, and it is 0% contained. So it's went through Hackberry. You can go to there's a fake place called Fire Data. You can look at it, but it's pushing north, and there's a lot of problems going on there. So bad fire. But it is a natural thing. Bilberry crosses. I think having met him, spoke with him, everything I heard about it, I give it less. It's kind of Travis Tomlinson and the Stone Maps, but a little rougher. I wanted Michael Bilberry to feel comfortable enough to kind of see how he would talk about it X amount of years later. We never had the discussion directly about it. My discussions with him were, how about you come to the rendezvous? Come and hang out. Just be there. Nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody's going to talk to you about any of that stuff. Let's just kind of let you be and see how you feel. And a lot of times guys will come out, and that didn't happen, and then he passed away. I wanted also to get in well enough with him to say, hey, if the stone crosses do still exist, like the Stone Maps, it doesn't really matter. The museum or someplace should have them. I know there's replicas everywhere, but who does have them? Do you have them? Someone else? I know someone else had them, and I never got to that part of it. That was one of the things Jim Hatt and I think Jim was really working hard on it, but he realized my approach was completely different. So my approach wasn't like, it's fake. What did you do with him? Why did you fake it? And this stuff and personal stuff, because he had a bad personal history. And it was just basically, why don't you come out? You had a thing with the Superstitions. You're part of that history. Why don't you just come out, enjoy it, listen to the stories, relax with everybody, and get him kind of in a little bit of comfortable, and then just see if he would be, if nothing else, willing to donate any materials or anything from that era to the museum, to the archives, to Greg Davis or myself. And it never worked that far. I think someone spooked him. So, and that was sad, but, people are like that. The Lost Dutchman can't be found, and I'm out of Puxel. Okay, well, there you go. Saw the smoke when I came to Phoenix this morning. There's, if I'm reading this right, this is Scary Cherries Chuck, Tucson. Hi, Wayne. That's a hell of a name to name a child. So, anyways, so there we go. So we were talking about the YouTube stuff before, but yeah, be proud of what you do. If you have something you want to do it, just do it. I always kind of sit back and come up with ideas and look at stuff. The live stuff's tougher. You're a little more kind of on the spot. It's best to kind of pre-record. I like the Chasing Legends stuff. We don't, outside of Trevor will stop it if I cough, or I'll stop and I'll look at him and say, okay, let's start that piece over. We do not do second takes. We just run through it, and then he chops out the pieces. That's why once in a while you'll find me repeat something twice, because Trevor doesn't edit the way he's supposed to. I try to remember to tell him, edit this, but he's tired sometimes, and he leaves those spots in. But, yeah, we just run through those. So there's a certain way to do it. Bobby, are you in AJ yet? Well, I don't know if Bobby is. I don't know if Bobby's here. I don't know if Bobby is in AJ. I don't know if he got here yet. I know he was supposed to come out for the rendezvous. I knew he'd be here for the rendezvous, right, Bobby? I don't know. I'm not going to get into too much of Bobby's business. But I don't know if, I think Bobby's still back where Bobby was. Nope. Okay, so I was right. I could have just said that, Bobby. See there? Yeah, Wayne's right. Nope. But as far as a lot of stuff, and like the interview I did today, you try to hope that some of the stuff that's said, I mean, you try to correct it. I spend half the interview usually going back through and going, what did he tell you? Man, okay, can you erase that? And I always make sure they're recording because I know they're taking notes, but I tell them, are you recording? I said, please record. So then you can listen to it again and get everything, the details, because I'll give you dates, I'll give you specific things. But there you go. Okay, Steve Wiggin. The stone maps are street signs. Well, if you put them on a post somewhere, maybe that would be it. Maybe that'd be the best use for them, is stick them on a corner somewhere. When do the snakes die down in the soups? Never. I've seen snakes out there 365 days a year. You have less chance of running into a snake when it's really cold. And even then, you might find one laying out in the sun. They like to be out when it's warm. They like to be out in the evenings and in the early mornings. So I've run into them. So it doesn't matter. It's January and it's only 45 degrees. That the sun comes up and it heats up just a little and it's 50 degrees and you'll find a rattlesnake in the trail. So there might be less. It just depends where they're at. They don't hibernate. They become quieter. They're not out as much. But yeah, for anyone to think that there's no rattlesnakes in December, January, February, you still will see them. You'll see Gila monsters. You'll see everything. All the lizards are still out. Waltz rode with Woolsey out of Prescott to go raid Apaches. Yeah, is this commonly accepted? No. It's kind of accepted. Some people believe that he might have rode with them. There was a problem when a lot of information concerning a lot of stuff came out, and certain people that were involved with the dissemination of that material of the association with Waltz with several things. And I tend to think it doesn't involve anything concerning the Lost Dutchman technically. You have to go, well, that doesn't really change what Julia Reinhardt would have told Jim Bark, and why would Waltz not mention this other story? So I always look at it as if there was any association there, it doesn't really have anything to do with this. So it's kind of like if you're going to write the book on the life of Jacob Waltz, and the Lost Dutchman is just a small part of that, then that's something you research and get into. Otherwise, I tend to kind of leave that stuff out. It was like the guys that wanted to know the General Grant, the big rebel. We need to find these. Why? Because we know that's not the type of ore or the gold, or none of that stuff works, and we know the gold that's been found in the Superstition kind of matches better and seems to be associated with. So we kind of know that. So why are you going, unless you want to write the tell-all book on his life? His history is fascinating. It's just I don't think people would buy it too much. Okay, right. Gold prospecting, San Antonio, Texas, where every day is a golden day. Sorry, catching your video late. You always say that. Extremely busy time of the year prospecting. Gold everywhere. Well, send some to us. SkyCloud will be sending everyone free gold next week. Imaginary gold with imaginary tacos we got. When do the snakes die down in the soups? We got to that. The stone mats are street signs. Yes, put them on posts. Drink to Bob Ward. There we go. Bob. Taking Waltz's large cache. Is it at the mine? No, it was by his camp. He said it was by his camp. It was always said by his camp. There were 3. He took one when he left the first time. He grabbed the second one on the second time. He said the third one was bigger than the first 2 combined. And as far as I know, no one's ever... I think if someone found that, they would have definitely publicly said something and had a piece of the ore to be tested. And so I think that ore has never been located because it's pretty well known in the story, and that would have been kind of a really good thing to say, hey, you definitely are close. So I think if someone found it, they know they're close, but then it doesn't seem to have ever come out anywhere to anyone. I had suspicions a couple times when people said they found something, and then there was a lot of talk about gold, and then I kind of wondered, did they find the cache? And then I kind of realized, well, you would, the first thing I would do is like have a piece, and I would have it analyzed and say, this looks like it's got the hematite. Oh yeah, okay, it fits really, really well. and then say, this looks like it could be the stuff. The only time I saw anything like that, and it was an odd story I'll get to here in a second, Tacos in the Gold Mine. Yeah, I'm interested in all things Waltz for sure. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. His name was Bruce. Last name started with a B. He had come from back east as a very, very young child, or before he was born. His parents had come out and moved out. He had a place, and I've talked about, he had like a junkyard. It was like a museum junkyard. He was like Fred Sanford, a white Fred Sanford with all this crazy stuff historically on his property. He had this tarp, and he pulled back. He told me to pull the tarp back, and I have pictures of it somewhere. I'll have to find the pictures. And I was disinterested, but he was talking about a number of different things and assays on this ore, and said that ore had come from the Lost Dutchman mine, he was told, or near the Lost Dutchman mine. But I also remember him talking it came from out by Four Peaks. Now, it wasn't amethyst in it or anything, which is they have the amethyst mines, and I was looking at it, and it was very hard iron ore. I'll have to find the set of pictures and kind of reference that. But I really, what I should do for Chasing Legends is do a slideshow on that guy's property, because people will freak out what was at his house. But that was something I just kind of blew at the time. He said, "You want a piece?" And I said, because I've had so many people say, it's Dutchman ore. And the crazy thing is, I look back at it and I go, I should have grabbed a piece, because it was very high in iron and all. Might have had some gold in it, but it was an interesting story that he just threw that in there. That's the only time he mentioned Jacob Waltz and the Lost Dutchman mine, was that ore pile that was under a big tarp back by these cars. And other than that, it was all historical stuff that he was right on. He had the time, the era, everything. It was the real artifact that I'd seen in books, and I knew it was real. So it was really crazy. So it was the one thing I kind of I blew it off, and I wish I hadn't. I wish I would also ended up going back there and found some way to get the Donofrio's neon sign, because that was very cool. I hope somebody got that before it was gone. But we're going to do, I'll have to remember that. I'll look for the photos. I have them in a box right down here below me. I have the discs with all the photos on it. I'll have to get it out and then put together something. And Bret Hart, his name was Bret Hart, Bruhart or something like that. It was a German name, not Bret Hart like the wrestler, but Bret Hart like one long name. But no, he was a very nice gentleman. I had some great conversations, and he had coolest stuff. Do you think if someone did find the cache, they would announce it publicly? Depends who it is. If I found it, I would spend some time looking, thinking I was that close to the Dutchman, and looking at the clues and trying to see. I don't know if he really could figure it out from there, because they never say how far it was. He said he'd point them in the direction of it and kind of tell them how to get to it, which makes me think it was more than just like 20, 30 feet away. So that makes me kind of curious. So I would do a cursory look, but eventually I would say, hey, I believe this is from the cache. This ore here, I found this here. There's several other spots, blah, blah, blah. And I'd want it to be kind of put it out there to test and put it out there as an example. Definitely to get it preserved so people would have something to base something off of. That's what I would do, because if you were able to basically people believe that story, then you'd have something to really base it on. I think it would match the Coachera and probably the Silver Chief and Massacre ore. I think it would match all those, because I think the Superstition mine gold ores are all very, very similar. Sarah, so where was the camp really located? Well, if we knew that, then we wouldn't be looking for it still. He just said we're going to go to the camp, and he tried to tell them where the camp was. That's where most of the maps go to. It's not to the mine, it's to the camp area, because that's what he wanted them to retrieve. He didn't want them to go to the mine. He wanted to go to his camp, get that large cache, and get out of there, and they never made that. So most of the directions, while he gave a description of the mine, most of the directions should lead you to the camp. And you're going into a camp that does not exist anymore, into an area where, okay, do you know it's a camp? And then you're going to be looking for a bunch of ore that's buried in a pothole under the ground. That's kind of more of a good luck thing than you can imagine. Maybe you'll get lucky and someone will go LiDAR mapping device. LiDAR's not going to work out there. LiDAR doesn't really work in the desert. Nothing's buried in the desert. I mean, it's buried, but it's buried under dirt, and LiDAR is not going to work underneath the soil, the dirt. It'll work through foliage and stuff. But people, when they see people using LiDAR and stuff, and you can't, ground penetrating radar in the Superstitions is almost useless because of the mineral contents and the density stuff in the terrain. So it's really, really difficult. It is. Let's put it this way: Superstition Mountains is the land of hot rocks, and the people will tell you, "Oh no, it's not very mineralized," blah 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 blah. Go out there, man. You take a pinpoint, you're gonna find hot rock everywhere. So maybe you'll get lucky and say, "Okay, no, I didn't. Okay, I don't know what that was. I don't know. I didn't see Taz talk before. Hey, Bowman, how's it going? Are the Holmes opal mines still open? I don't know. I don't know where they necessarily are or were. I know there's other people that know. Gary Cundiff and Larry Hanna probably knew. I know there's a couple other people probably know where they are. I don't know. So the way I understand it's illegal. It's illegal to dig in the mountains, yes. Now, if it's a hole and you're just clearing out an old hole, that's not illegal. So, okay, something disappeared. I think that was the opal mine thing. So I'll have to look in. Oh, hold it. Was it? Yeah, I think that was the opal mine one. I'll have to look into that because I don't know if someone had something. I'm sure you can find the records where they were. I mean, the mining claim records and all that stuff. And there are newspaper articles about when the opal mine. Seems very funny that he came into some money right around the time the opal mines did well. And that was one of my big concerns about the Dick Holmes story is shortly after Waltz dies and all this, there's a newspaper article where supposedly he has this money from Waltz. He's buying a house and all this stuff, and they talk about it. And then suddenly there's a newspaper article that Dick Holmes is now finally able to leave his job washing dishes because of the big strike at the opal mine. And I'm thinking, hold it, I thought he just got all this money and all this whole gold ore from Waltz and he's already broke. So, it was an opal or onyx. I don't know. It was one of the two. Who knows? We can go. It's in Glover's book. We can look up the claims and stuff. But there's a newspaper article on it when it was popular and stuff. And I'm sure there's some guys know where it is. Who said he buried the cash? Can't it be in a cave across? No, he said. He said that. Julian Reinhardt both specifically said there was 3 caches. They were like in potholes. You could see them from the camp, but you couldn't see the camp from where they were. It was that one of those stupid tricky things where it was very close by, where you could keep an eye on it, but, and they were probably natural potholes of some sort, depressions in the ground, and he filled it up with ore and covered it, and that's where it was. Robert retracted his message. I don't get to them fast enough, so sometimes I don't know what you guys retract. I've never retracted a message. I don't even know if I can do that. So, I don't know. I figure once you say it, it's there. Let it be. The cache is near the camp. The Mexican had around 400 pounds. Why is it a Mexican? Now, 2 100-pound cache and 300-pound cache. Okay, well, he got 2 caches, and there's supposed to be 1 left. That's bigger than the first 2, and I don't know if it'd be 2 300 pounds. That's a lot for Burrow. Waltz only spent a little over 50 pounds. He had 48 pounds on 100. I don't know if there was 48 pounds under the bed. It wasn't under the bed. It was under the fireplace. And then it was put in a candle box after it was cleaned up. And that's where it was. I don't know how much there was. I don't think there was that much. I think it got embellished. Prospectors always like to embellish that stuff. It becomes way more than it was. So I think whatever figurative Dick Holmes said was under there probably was 50% less than that. I always wonder what the Apaches covered up over time. Well, the Apaches said they covered a bunch of mines. They didn't say they covered the Lost Dutchman mine. Robert, did you not watch History Channel? I always wonder what the Apaches covered up over time. Probably Walk Over the Fish Pie. Yeah, there's the story. I think is it in Sims Ely's book? I think where Phil LaBarge or Martin Charlie Boy are out doing something, and one Apache came up to him and said, "I saw you out there. You went over and then you walked right over that mine." Ha! So they said there was 9 mines, 10 mines, and they covered all but one. One was too high up. They didn't want the women and children doing that. Robert, did I touch the matchbox? Yes, I did. I've told that story. I'm sitting there with Clay Worst. They're filming it, and we were doing it and doing the matchbox. And we were talking about it because it's very, very small, very small. And I had it in my hand, and we were talking about it and canning it back and forth as we talked. So I had Clay, took pictures of Clay holding it, and Clay took pictures of me holding it. And we're sitting there talking, and then they wanted to change the subject to something else. I can't remember. It was probably about Frank's sample, the placer gold that was there. So we started talking about that. Well, I have it in my right hand, and I'm sitting there, and I don't know what to do with it. Because if I raise my hand to talk with my hands, that's going to be in the frame. So as I'm sitting there and Clay's talking to me, I put it in my pocket. Here, I'll just give it back to him here in a second. Well, we film for another hour. So we film. Clay picks everything up, puts everything away when we're done. We say goodbye, shake hands. I walk out the door, and as I'm going out the door, I put my hand in my pocket to get my truck keys. And I get my truck keys, but I'm like, what's this? I think it's a lighter. Well, it's not a lighter. It's the matchbox in my pocket. I was walking out with it. And I turned around and I went, oh, crap, holy shit. I went and told Clay, I said, put this in the box, hurry. And I was like totally apologetic about it, but both of us completely forgot about it. We were having such a great conversation and having a good time that we lost track of where we were because they had us change that. Is it in the bark note? Yes, it's in the bark notes too, the caches and all that. So it's in the bark notes. It's in a number of different sources and stuff. That was the original source material. Hey, Dallas, I just talking about you with the board members on Sunday. We were talking about, I told them I wanted whatever it was that you still had to do or where you were with the Dawn stuff there with all that. So just so you know, I'm thinking of you. So I'm now on the board. So I told them that as far as these people who've asked to be members and so forth, they need to get, the Dons themselves need to get on the jump on it. Ola, so okay, is the whole cache in the bark? Yes, so it's in a number of these. That tells us how rich the ore really was. And the assayer told us too. Looks like Siphon draws. Yeah, it's 15,000 acres, 0% contained, but it seems to be moving north. It's going to eventually, I don't know if it could move east, obviously, but it doesn't seem to be tracking much to the south. It seems to be mainly pushing north. So they did not cross Apache Trail. They seem to have kept it on the east side of Apache Trail, on the south side. And then it's coming up on Canyon Lake. It's closer to Canyon Lake, but it also appears that it's going kind of slowly working its way up. It's going to be very different going up through Garden Valley and up in Hackberry and those areas after all this. It's going to be much different. Brush Corral Basin. It appeared Weaver's Needle and Blacktop Mesa were spared. Bluff Springs Mountain was spared. So I think it stayed on the west side of Malapai. So you can see the map and everything and do that. So tell how it is. But yeah, it's a major fire. It happens. There's not much they can do about it. So we'll have to wait and see here in the next few weeks once things open up of how things look. But please stay out of the way in the meantime, because the firefighters are out there. What resources we do have, we want them to be able to use and work on things. What about the 50 oyster cans? Yeah, well, I never understood that. There was 50 oyster cans, there was meat tins, there was this, that. I've always heard there was a couple big tins. There was a big tin of ore. And that's where this whole 50 pounds, 40 pounds, this, that, and everything else. I heard it was one tin he had left of the rocks. Now, I also heard there was some of the ore that he collected and that he had left. I don't know who ended up with it. That wasn't the home stuff. It's a really mysterious story where how that stuff all enters in and where it kind of ends up. But the 50 oyster cans is that's not part of it. It was like a meat tin or something like that, a big can, and it had a bunch of the gold ore that had been cobbed down. And then they took that, and when Reinhardt brought it back, They cleaned it up and they put it in a candle box or something and put it under Waltz's bed for him. That's what I heard. So, it's like, how much stuff is that? Was it a 50-pound, come on, Reinhardt was running around with a 50-pound can of gold ore, 50 oyster. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's what I wanted, Wayne. A good old story, buddy. Thanks. Good stuff. Clay is a legend. Put the matchbox in an empty American Spirits box into the landfill. Can you imagine? Yeah, I would have found it because I would have kept going into my pockets for cigarettes and stuff. And it was just, I'm sitting there with Clay. So once, and the house warmed up. But that day it rained. So I wore my jacket because it rained. Then I couldn't take my jacket off because we were having in the show, you think we're having a 10-15 minute conversation. It's not. We're there for 3-4 hours. So I'm there forever. I got hot, man, because I'm wearing that big old, that big old canvas jacket. But it was pouring rain outside. So I wore it to come in, and then that was the mistake. They didn't want me all wet coming in, so that was the mistake. And then I was like, man, I don't want to get on his couch with this thing because it's just rolling water. And Clay was like, no, that's fine. So that was all good. But yeah, he came close to walking out with me. But fortunately, it was me, because that would have been what it is. Bulldog, I don't think so. They covered that up. It kind of, I think, just there's nothing there. I don't know if you could intercept any of the tunnels. There's someone. I can ask. That's a question to ask Bob Shoes. I would doubt it, because it's almost like a landfill. It's a gravel pit out there by it now. They'd have to figure out where those tunnels lie at what depths, and then you'd have to go. I just don't think that's a possibility. But here is the kicker. If there's no mine, why did he cover a mine that matches? Well, the mine covering thing side kind of goes with the Holmes story, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't know if he covered the mine. I don't think in Ely or Bark or anything the mine's really covered. I never opened the mine, just realized it was hidden there. The mine is real. Because what is that Dick Holmes story? He went back up, and then he made sure everything's fine and threw everything down in it. And then he cut a bunch of the trees down, and then he built this thing. And then he put a bear trap in there. And then he covered it over so nobody would know it was there. And I'm like, he did what? Because that's a lot of work, man, for some 60, 70-year-old guy up there. I don't know if it would be, now the stuff could have run down into it and choked it up. There could be a lot of other things. But the Apache story it was in such a ridiculous place. They didn't want the women and children trying to refill. Now, they didn't say it was the Lost Dutchman. They said there was a Peralta mine that was in a ridiculous place that they didn't want to try to cover it up. He thinks it's the LDM. I don't know who he is. He must be talking about Bowman. Is it Bowman? Or is it the Bulldog? He thinks... Shoes thinks the Bulldogs... Yeah, he thinks the Bulldog was possibly the Dutchman. It doesn't really fit too well. It was a pit, but it would be too easy to send someone there in the directions. And it doesn't really fit. And then the Goldfield ore doesn't seem to fit the Superstition ore. I don't know. You remember the Unsolved Mysteries program with Tom Collenborn and Larry Hedrick? Yes, I do. Yeah, Larry probably was only involved because he was with Tom. And Tom's like, Larry, come on. Larry's probably sorry about that. Was that the one with Corbin, too? Because it happened... One of them happened when the Monica Lewinsky Bill Clinton thing blew up while they were filming. That might be the one. They were filming that, and that happened because they had John McCain out there with them part of one day. They said they had no problem getting permission to film in the wilderness area that day. Let's see. You thinking, why didn't I open it? Why are you questioning and talking to yourself? Why didn't you open it? There's over 120 years old. You can't even clear. This thing is dangerous to open up. I've cleared stuff. We cleared Tuning's mine. We've cleared a few mines. So you got to be careful with stuff. You got to always be careful. Like someone I talked to once, you got to always remember sometimes when you think you're opening up the floor, you might be opening up the ceiling. So you might go down, fall, and go far, and go boom on your head if you flip over. So No, there's a lot of mines been dug out and cleared out in there. We've done quite a few. We got another one we're going to work on. Always kind of try to get some history. I'm glad I got into the stairway and did what I can. Bob Juice. Yeah, she just believes the bulldog. I don't know if I always wonder if he really does, or if that's just his way of giving up on something. It's been 18 years. I still say I found. That's fine. You can say that. No one believes it's real. Just tell me where it's at. I'll go take pictures. I'll film it for you. I won't dig it out. I'll film it. You have my word, man. And the funny thing is, when you think about it, all the years you've known me and everybody's seen me on doing anything, you don't find any time where I've crossed somebody up. So, and it doesn't matter about money and stuff because I got money. So, therefore, if you want something, documented, that's the easy way to do it. Just tell me. I'll go out there, we'll film it, we'll take pictures of it, we'll do all that. We'll take the metal detectors out, take whatever tools we can, and we'll do what we can for you to a certain extent. And if it requires something to dig it out and all, we'll put your name on it. There we go. And if you want to put your real name on it, or if you want to put a pseudonym or whatever you want to put on there, pseudonym or pseudofed, but we'll put it on there and we'll do whatever. I've dug for so many people and done things for so many people. Chicken Shack Mine next. Chicken Shack Mine. No, it's the Kovacs Chicken. Kovacs Chicken Mine. No, that's in the park. They got that kind of off to us. That one really sucks because I wanted to get in that because I was told that Bob Ward had thrown a bunch of notebooks and rifles and stuff down in there. And I wanted to see if any of it was true. All I had to do was find one thing. And I tried to pitch it. And someone got kind of interested. And I said, let's get in there fast. We'll file a claim. We'll get in there. We'll dig it out, clear it out, find what's in there. We'll fill it back in before we even get in there too long. And we'll be out of there. And we'll just see. We'll film and we'll get something out of it. But it's not maybe historical, but we'll find the truth. And they backed out of it. But we needed a grabber, and we needed a small backhoe. There was some equipment we needed, and I was ready to file the claim. Me and Frank discussed it and how to work it out. The show In Search of It was good with Leonard Nimoy. Nimoy was pretty good. Oh, yeah. Clayworth gave the best description. Probably has a tree growing at him. Funny things happen in the mountains, but okay. But I don't know if his best description, because he's definitely a Dick Holmes one, and I don't know if Dick Holmes had a really clear idea either. But everybody has their own vision what it is. I take what I take of the earliest source material, and then I always try to think about it and always review and reread the books and all the material I have, boxes and boxes and files, and cast out all the stuff that I know is nonsense. After I research it, because I think that's important. You have to let it go. I am getting old. It better happen soon. I like bow hunting more. I like bow hunting. Shit. Bowman. We can go take the bows. We can go out. We can take the mine. We can look at the mine. Take pictures of the mine. Get us a pig. Okay? Get a tag. Get a pig. And then we'll come home. And we'll have a barbecue. There you go. So I sling the arrows, man. I sling the bow. I zing the string. I zen archer. So there you go, bud. Afraid you'd find bodies? Not really, because if we found a body, we'd just stop, report it to the sheriff's department. That makes a great show, right? So that's what I explained to them. I don't think we'll find bodies. They said he buried his secrets in there. But I said, I want to go down and see, because I know there's some other things that I was told specifically. And finding one of those things guarantees it, and then continue to see what else we find. Once you find a body, man, that's a wrap of a hell of a season. I mean, that's pretty successful. But you could always find a body. You never know what you're going to find at the ends of the bottom of these shafts and stuff. There's always that moment. Wayne, who would spend weeks or months covering a mine like that? Jesus, you're asking me a question. I went down, there's a mine north of the Red Paint Mine, And the gentleman went under this big house-sized boulder, dug a frickin' tunnel, then blasted out a tunnel in solid rock that's about 30 feet long, 10 feet wide, 10 feet high. Looks like he's building a subway, and there was no minerals reasoning to do any of it. So someone go into that and spent that time doing that. Well, who would bury or cover something up? People do some crazy stuff, dude. I found piles of rocks and stuff. People just for no apparent reason did some stuff. I found a door in the middle of nowhere that had been buried in concrete where I didn't open it, but it was there. How do you... Come on, people do strange things out in the mountains. You find strange stuff. Okay. Take 5 men to open it. Or one Sal. Sal will get it out of there, man. Wayne, do you have secrets that you'll never talk about regarding... I do not have secrets. I have promises I've made to others that I won't talk, and I always usually mention when we come upon those things, but there's certain things, yes, I don't talk about because I made a promise. I don't know if there's a date where that promise would be just invalid. So I've kept my word on every single one of those things. It's just, I always try to make sure, and I make sure I document my stuff. I have the documentation, and Trevor's very aware of some of it, and he would be very aware, and it's mapped. And now GPS, it's no problem. So he would know where certain things are and about certain things. And I sometimes talk to other people that I think might know, just to query them enough to know if there's enough that they might say something, if they know. But I always preface it with, I don't really want to know if you know. I'm just wondering if there's a possibility you could know. And it's kind of like, do we have a shared secret here? I don't want to talk about it with them even privately, because who knows what each of us knows. But I like to know that the legacy or preservation of certain sites continues. So there's a number of things that I know that I don't talk about because I'm told not to. There could be a time in the next 5 or 10 years that I decide to talk about the things. And sometimes I don't think it really matters, but sometimes it's more you wonder if it would bother certain people. Because sometimes the stuff I'm sworn to secrecy on, to be honest, I don't know why it has to be a secret. Can you tell us who the guest speakers are? I'm waiting for the last confirmations for the first group of people. I know 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be a series of different people, and there's 2 or 3 people I'm waiting on. There's another person. Yeah, so I'm hoping in the next week or two everything's kind of confirmed and built out, and we're kind of almost set. I want to have people that are coming up that are talking for 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes, but shorter, and then have some things in between all that. So it kind of moves as a program so that everybody sits there for a couple hours and it just kind of goes by with a lot around it. So there's a lot of information happening. So that's what I'm hoping. We'll see if everybody kind of jumps in there and throws that in. Something nobody knew. I marked the entrance so I could find it. Why? Okay, couldn't you just GPS it? I don't know. Okay, you had GPS, didn't you? I don't know. I can find a spot. I have when it comes to the exact physical spot on the ground, that's easy once I'm in the area. I have a bigger problem finding the general area sometimes. That's usually my bigger problem, is I go and I'm like, which way did I turn? There is a place where there is a spot, very interesting spot, and one of those secrets. But in this spot, there's a place where you turn, and I know the way there. And there is a trick in the trail. And if you don't turn the right way and navigate a certain way, you will miss it every time. It is crazy easy to miss it. And every time I've tried to return there, I've found it absolutely mind-blowing that I know it's here. I just can't suddenly physically see it, understand it again. it's like there's something, I don't know, it's weird, but it's passing between two boulders. And it's a very weird spot because I walked by it and then I walked back to it and then I walked by it. And then the third, fourth time I'll go, oh, there it is. And I'm like, how did I miss that each time? It's too obvious. So I don't know. That's one of my weird things is the specific place. I'll know it's right there, but then I'll lose the way to get right to it. That makes sense, I think. After discovering Radolf Ruth's body, I read he took Ruth's map to search for the body. That's what... Who's he? There was a whole posse. It was the Pinal County Sheriff's Department and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department. People always act like, oh, Gus Barkley found the map, and then they went off. It was actually the special deputy sheriff that says this, and there was deputy sheriffs and a lot of people involved in this supposed search for the mine after that. And I've never been quite sure about the story. They did say, and it's in the newspaper articles too, they found a map. It was a topographical map that he had a lot of directions and stuff written on and stuff. And so that map has never shown up. And that's the map you'd want because it was Adolf Ruth drawing and showing you where he was looking and stuff. And that's a very important artifact. And it's never brought up. That's the funniest thing that's never brought up. The topographical map that they recovered on his body that they say they found, they didn't find the Mexican maps or the original maps. The topographical map that they found was it returned to the family. Who ended up with it? How come we've never seen anything about it? And it had his notes and instructions on it. And they talked about it. So we know it existed and then it just vanished. I think whoever has theories just waiting for the weather to improve. Oh, everybody's going to be out. Just don't get lost. Don't get hurt. Found the priest. I'll show you a priest. This year maybe at the rendezvous. Wiggins, you're at the rendezvous. Maybe I'll show you the priest. I'll show you the priest. Because I can show you the priest. And it was just, hey, wow, we'll put that on the stone map. I can show you the priest. The priest is there. The priest, he doesn't have a cross in his hands, but the priest is very obviously there. It has nothing to do with a treasure or anything. It's just, but the priest it's there. Randy Wright would say it. We stood there one day and just looked at it and was just like, think he saw that? Yeah, probably. That's why he put it on the stone maps. Brother had a heart attack. Oh, this is Bowman talking about what happened. Yeah, Bowman just had a lot of bad luck. He just had nothing. He came out. He still thinks we never met. I think not only do I have him in pictures I took, but there's, I think, a picture of us sitting next to each other, so it's kind of funny. So that shows you, no matter how old I get, I'm still holding it together. But I got pictures of him, and when he went off, and he was at the rendezvous, and yeah, there's actually pictures of him in the camp and stuff. And I got pictures. I never post them because, one, it's his identity. He doesn't go by his real name and stuff and so forth. But there's pictures of him with Joe Roboto as well. I'm trying to think of who else is in the pictures. I think Rich Robinson's in the picture. Chris is not in there. 23 of my friends' family died. I'm sorry, that's sad. It's a road sign. I told you, get a metal pole, stick it up somewhere. You know what, Steve, you're making me want to create some stone maps, put them on metal posts, and stick them along Peralta Road. That would be the iconic funny joke. I think we're out of time, though. I think we did our time. See, it's getting close to dinner time. I got to do dinner, and then I got to go get groceries and load up groceries and stuff and get on with my big Friday night, which basically means I'll take a shower and then sleep tonight. I know. Getting old. Make fun of... Who's making fun? Nobody made fun. I just said you didn't meet me, and you did meet me, and I have pictures of you, and you were there with Joe when you were showing him your map and some of the map and going over maps and stuff. I got stuff. But I'm not going to post it. I said I'm not going to post it. I don't think I ever posted it on Ron's either, because I try to be very careful not posting stuff concerning people and allow them the privacy and so forth of who they are. Thanks, Wayne. Great weekend. Oh, no problem. Thank you. Hey, Bowman. Yeah, take care, man, okay? Be well. Be well. Stay safe, stay free, but be well, dude. Where are you going to have Sal on live? Oh, how the hell am I going to manage that, man? That means I got to go to his house, and we got to set it up. Sal ain't making it here. I don't think he's allowed to leave. He's not allowed 400 yards from the house. We'll try to do something. We'll try to do something live from the rendezvous or something with Sal. But I don't know. You guys can understand him. Have a great weekend. I got to spend the entire. You too, Dallas. Dinner. Yeah, it's supposed to be pizza tonight. Yeah, it's about time. Nobody can understand Sal, so it's going to be a conversation of me asking Sal questions and then me trying to figure out what he's saying and then me interpreting for all of you because you will not understand a word that he's saying. So yes, it's called Sal speak, and it just is not going to work. Okay, so all right, scary cherries. Thanks, Wayne. Have a good weekend. Yep, thank you. That's Tucson Chuck. I don't know why his cherries are scary. Great, Wayne, always. I don't know about great, but at least we made it through it. Later, buddies. Sal on, please, Sal. You guys make him think he's like Brad Pitt or something. He gets all cocky and stuff and thinks, oh, you pay me? I ain't freaking paying you, Sal. Nobody even knows what you're talking about. You're going to have something. Yeah, Sal. Hey, Bobby, when he got really mad last time, he was pretty clear. His English cleared up really good when he was angry. He started to want to get in a fight. It's funny. Thanks. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby, take care, man. And I hope everything works out and you can get out for the rendezvous because I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Bobby's good people. Fun people, man. So there we go. I'm going to wrap it up because that's what I do, and I'm hungry. And those imaginary tacos didn't really hit it. I didn't get the imaginary gold either. It didn't do me any good either. So the imaginary tacos and the imaginary gold all just kind of failed me. So now I got to go get me some pizza. So thank you for joining us. Catch Chasing Legends on Monday, 4 p.m. Arizona time. Catch us again live next Friday, which we should still be here again because I seem to not be able to get out of this anymore. And on top of it, very importantly, October 25th, 26th, 27th, gates open by, say, noon. They'll probably be open earlier. One of us will be out there, but I want to say noon so nobody gets there too early if one of us has a flat tire or something happens. But by noon, the gates will be open to the Don's camp, and we'll be all set up, and you can start setting up in there. Please leave the host camp empty for me. So that's the area where I set my camp, and I have the fire. Nobody that's going to sit there in a pickup truck and turn it on and off all night, please park next to me, because this year I will light your truck on fire. Because I plan on sleeping this year. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will catch you the next time around. And we're going to stop streaming, and we're going to make it smooth.